2 years. I was from 8 in the morning till 9 p.m. busy. I've talked to lots of people about their school experiences, and I wonder if you could guess how it went. It was the most demanding, stressful job that I've had. I was like, that's it. I'm leaving the industry. There is nothing left for me here. Hey, it's the Dame Barber here, and I came in today to talk about everything that led up to me being here today in the studio working completely solo. I've had a very long career of 20 years, and so I'm going to start from the start. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a long story, but I'll catch you up on my career events and experiences up until this point. And, watch them now, watch them later, or listen to it while you're doing something else. Here we go. I grew up, probably like many people, or some of you, inside of a shop. My mom was working inside of a salon, and it was the 80s, so it wasn't a traditional barber shop, it was a unisex shop. And at that time, that was what was really popular, because in the 80s, there were things like doing perms and colors, and this was super trendy. It was cool because it was very diverse. There was a mix of boys and girls in the shop, and I loved it. The shop owner and her boss he was a barber from Germany, and he was a really interesting guy. He could come off kind of abrasive. He would say like kind of offbeat things. So one time he said to me, "You are an ugly duckling now, but one day you will be beautiful." I was just like, okay, so I'm ugly then? He was like that. But since I was in the shop so much, he didn't let me like spin around in the chairs and run around all over the place. I did jobs while I was there, so I would be kept busy folding towels or sweeping, and a lot of time just, observing and being a fly on the wall to all of the conversations that were happening there. It was an environment that I actually kind of liked. People were coming in feeling good and looking good. It was a lot of positivity. I loved the artistry of the hair that they were doing. It was a cool place to hang out for me. I did that through my school years, and in high school I learned of a vocational program where you could get cosmetology classes for a much lower rate than if you graduate and take cosmetology later, so I decided I was going to do that. On a side note, growing up, we were doing okay, probably not the best, but because of that, college just was not part of the conversation. So we were really raised to understand that when we got to a certain age, that it'd be our responsibility to take care of ourselves. That was true in serious things. So when I learned about the vocational program, I was like, great, now I have a way to start working right out of high school. I can be independent and take care of myself. So that's what I did. Cosmetology school. So I've been to school a few times. In the amount of time I've been around, I've talked to lots of people about their school experiences, and I wonder if you could guess how it went. It was a little chaotic. It was stressful, to say the least. I don't feel like the school did a lot to help me prepare, but I am a very ambitious, like self-starter type, so I studied a lot. I did all of my book work. I think to make it in those kind of environments, you have to be self-reliant to get through it, and I'm telling you, it's not easy. So if you've made it through school, hooray! Because it's tough, I know. I needed to find a way to pay for the vocational program, and I got a job at the quick service shop my mom was working at down the street from the apartments where we lived. Now I was going to work with my mom, only I was getting paid this time. And I used all the money I earned from being a receptionist to pay for my vocational school, which I think at that time was like $3,000. And mind you, I needed a working permit to be able to get a job at that age. And I didn't have a checking account, so I had to pay for all of my schools every week. I would go get a cashier's check to pay for the vocational school. Those 2 years were like very long days. I would wake up, go to high school in the morning, then I would travel 30 minutes to the vocational campus, go there for 4 hours, I think. Then a half hour back to my neighborhood where I would go to work for 3 hours. They were open until 9. Then wake up the next day and do it again. Then I'd go in on the weekends too. So for 2 years, I was like from 8 in the morning till 9 p.m. busy, work or school, you name it. The fun that I had was usually just playing video games because I didn't have time to go anywhere and I had to use all my money to pay for school. So shout out to video games. I love gaming, and that's another video altogether. Anyway, since school wasn't teaching me a lot, I really tried to learn from the shop I was working in. So I took it very seriously. I was very engaged in doing the best I could. I had to do customer service, so my responsibilities there were to check clients in and cash them out. I would help sweep. I was doing laundry, making barbicide, dusting shelves, vacuuming. I had basic salon tasks there, but I took a lot of pride in doing them well. And I observed the stylist there and watched their haircuts, and I asked questions, and that was really helpful. So when I did graduate, I felt somewhat prepared and like, man, I am ready to jump in and do this and just get started. I had that kind of energy. I felt like pretty guaranteed that once I got my license, I could hop on board as a stylist. So I don't think I had a big stress of like, oh no, I need to find a job. It was just kind of waiting there for me. I worked as a stylist for years, and I think that working at this company was the hardest job I've ever had. And I've really only worked inside of shops. I haven't done like food service or like retail per se. I haven't done any jobs like that. It was the most demanding, stressful job that I've had. I gained so many skills along the way because I was really exposed to so many different hair types. This type of shop, because it's connected with a corporation, has so much structure for you. When cosmetology school was so chaotic and I didn't have the formulas and structures to follow, I really clung to doing things a certain way and just following the steps I was given, and they yielded results. I became very good at my craft. Bigger companies or chain salons are often connected with big name brands, especially for clipper companies or tools or products like Big Sexy Hair, American Crew, Redken, Paul Mitchell. I got to experience all of these different product lines, and they would host classes and seminars. I have an interest in it. They were available, but not everybody was like immersing themselves in that. I took advantage of every class they had, and I implemented everything that I learned, and it was yielding me such good results. It was very good information I received. At the time, it was very influential for me to see the educators, and they were like role models. I started to get a vision for myself, like, man, I'd love to be on stage. I would love to present information and get people excited about something. Education became very interesting to me, especially after experiences in school where I felt educators could have done more for students, more for me, and I wanted to be that educator that people were missing or that were really beneficial in their career. And that's when I got a taste of it. When I expressed that in the workplace, they were saying most people who are doing that type of education have gone into management. So you would want to spend some time doing shop management so that would qualify you for educational position. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's the next step. I'm comfortable behind the chair. I have decent skills. I have a big following. So I was like, all right, this is comfortable. I'm going to try something else. So I did end up going into management. The management and leadership training I received was incredibly helpful. I was given so many resources and leadership philosophies, tools to implement to help coach other people. I learned all about shop operations, from like how to market your salon to having hard conversations with people, and accountability. Accountability was really fascinating for me. It was a huge growth period in my career because I grew up as the little sister. I never had to tell people what to do and be in charge. And I think this was a time where when I was given a position to lead others, I had to learn how to have conversations and be like, I noticed you came in late. Can you tell me why? Or I noticed you're not in dress code. Can you tell me why? And then have those conversations, which was really scary, but I did become more comfortable with it. And that was a really valuable thing that I learned during my management days. It was extremely rewarding. I felt like I was in a flow state doing it, but it was very energy costly. I had just had my son, so I was a new mom. My husband and I had just gotten our house, so then I was learning how to manage a whole household and not just a one-bedroom apartment. This was like a time in my personal life and my career life where there was just tons of growth, tons of personal growth. And it was really taxing. I worked really hard. My franchisees recognized my abilities and created a position for me to start training their new hires and coach their existing leaders. That was a really, really cool thing. I thought, wow, I've been recognized for my good work and I'm able to start sharing it with other people. This is a chance for me to start doing some education. I feel like it's getting so close to what I want. Because it was so energy costly doing these leadership roles, I really wanted to step back from behind the chair and get into a corporate level position so that I could just go to the academy and teach people there, do the presentations, and have a more formal classroom setting. Instead of trying to teach someone how to cut hair while I have a line of requests and I haven't had lunch and the phone keeps ringing and someone's like, I have a problem over here. I just wanted to get into a different environment. There was an opportunity for me to interview for an educator position in corporate. And I did. I went for the interview and I felt like this is good. I made it. And I did the interview. And then a couple days later, I hear back that they decided to go with somebody else. And needless to say, after all of the years I spent looking forward to this opportunity, it was crushing for it to go to someone else. And I recognized that I couldn't sustain working the pace that I was working. My body physically was like, I was in pain a lot. I was very tired when I got home. I was getting sick all of the time. And I recognized I couldn't do it. And people can tell you, be patient, you're doing so good. There's another opportunity that could come up for you. And I was just like, I've already worked here for years. I've already done this for so long. I don't know how much longer I could wait. So I decided to step down from leadership. I'm so determined to do education. I'm going to go back to school and get my educator license. So I did. And I went back to school again. I invested in myself, thousands of dollars, and it's a similar type cosmetology school experience. This is a kind of a chaotic environment. You know, it's stressful at times. My days were long again. I was going to work and then going to school and going home and just enough time to eat and sleep. So I think the instructor program took me around 6 or 8 months. I enjoyed getting to be a student again, but I also went into that situation with fresh eyes, looking at what is it like for the students? What kind of educator can I be for them? It was very insightful. I earned my educator's license, then I started working right away in a cosmetology school, and I was going through their training program. I quickly learned that it was not an environment where I could thrive. I was talking with other instructors there. I was noticing the students' behavior was hard to manage. Sometimes they would just duck out from services, so you have to go and find them. It didn't feel right. I knew it wasn't going to make me happy. So again, I felt pretty defeated that I spent this time and energy getting my license and then finding out that I can't work in a school, because I went in feeling very optimistic and like, oh man, I'm gonna make a difference and I'll be able to do it. But when attitudes around you and atmosphere are so strong, they can really give you so much friction I wasn't willing to put out the energy to make it work. So this was a time where I was like, that's it. I'm just gonna cut hair. I started working in a different shop. It was a barber shop. It was another chain shop. It was honestly so nice just to be in the back seat for a while and not be going so hard on my career. Working in a shop like that was awesome for me at the time because I was allowed to do a haircut in 30 minutes instead of 15. It was all by appointments really, so I could open up the appointment book and see exactly what was going to happen that day, who I was going to see, when my lunch break was. It was like, finally, and I was getting paid very well at the time to work there. Things were going pretty all right. But after education didn't work out, I was feeling like I had to get out of the hair industry. I didn't want to be a platform artist because it's mostly just sales. I think while that job can be really exciting and cool, different stressors, different type of schedule, I didn't think I wanted to do that route. So I was like, that's it. I'm leaving the industry. There is nothing left for me here. There's nowhere to go. So I started looking into different career paths. I did a lot of research. I love cooking. I love healthy foods. I was like, I know I could really help people eat better. I'm going to be a nutritionist or a dietitian. So I started researching the school required for that. They were changing the educational requirements from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree. At that point in my life, I was in my early 30s, and I was like, do I want to go through that many years of school and accumulate tens of thousands of dollars in debt? And I'd go on YouTube and I was researching what was a job like, and I found that a lot of dietitians end up going into private practice because working in the medical field setting is just really tough. So I talked to one of the advisors at the community college, and she goes, well, if you think you want to do private practice and you want to help people get well, you should consider the health and wellness coaching program that we have. It's a 2-year program. You get a certificate, and then if you want to later, you can become board certified. And I was like, ooh, yeah, sounds good. Then I can just work on my own. And I was like, wow, I'm going to enter into a completely new field where I don't know anyone and there's no network at all. How exciting. I'm making a fresh new chapter in my life. So I spent a couple of years going to school for that. When I got to the portion where you actually get to practice one-on-one coaching with people, it was very eye-opening for me what the frustrations of the job could be, and I didn't really know how to market this. So I didn't really know that health and wellness coaching was going to work for me. However, I did learn so much about looking at your life as a big picture. There were huge takeaways for me being able to see that you could be too focused on one part of your life. I was at a point in the shop where I was working where I was starting to get kind of restless, like a little complacent. The atmosphere there was very high energy, but it's like loud music and close quarters. I had the sense a lot of people were feeling burnt out. I started feeling like I need to shift. I got to find something else to do. And this was probably one of the most exciting and unexpected things to happen in my career so far, where I was talking to an acquaintance of mine and telling her, I'm having a hard time at work lately. I just don't feel engaged. And she's like, I met this girl who's opening up a shop in town. You should go meet her. You'd really like her. You guys would get along. She goes, yeah, it's a booth rent situation, so you have to pay to work there. And I was like, pay to work? I don't know if I could do that. That seems risky. Well, I wasn't sure about it, okay? I set up a meeting with her. I went to her shop, and she had only been open for a couple of months, so it was in the very early stages. It wasn't fully furnished yet. I'm looking around, and I'm looking at this girl who looks like close to my age. And I was like, you opened this? Like, you're doing this? She goes, yeah, I just wanted to see if I could do it. I just wanted to try it out. And I was like, dude, you're blowing my mind right now. And I was so impressed by her courage to do that. I think it was in the fall when I met her. So I was like, thank you for all the information. I have a lot to think about now. I started doing calculations. How risky would it be for me to move into a booth rent situation? I took months to consider it. I kept working at the same job through the holidays, And then come January, I get a message from her, and I had a particularly kind of bad day. And she reached out and said, hey, I was wondering if you want to start soon. When do you think you can start? And I was like, universe just slapped me in the face. Alyssa, this is your sign. Take the leap. Do it. I texted her and I was like, yeah, let me meet with you one more time. I want to talk about a couple of things. We met, and then I decided to take the leap into booth rent. One of the things that I was most nervous about was she's a traditional barber, and I had never done face shaves. I had done straight razor on the neck just to like clean it up, but I had never done full face shaves, so this was like territory I was very new to. I care a lot about being legit, so I wanted to go back and get my barber license. So I did. I went on board at that shop, and I went back to school again. And I started barber school in the spring. And it was a hybrid program, so I did 500 hours at the Barber Academy, going in there with fresh eyes, being a student again. I'm deciding to commit myself to the industry. I really thought I was going to leave. And I just absolutely fell in love with barbering. I went down the rabbit hole. I loved getting to meet a different side of the hair industry I was used to from the cosmetology world, and meeting all the fellas and what the culture was like. And then my shop owner's like, let's go visit different barber shops and have a mixer where we get everyone together and we just hang out and network. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Her and I go around visiting different shops, and I loved it. I was like, wow, this is some shit I've never done before. I started getting an interest for everything and seeing what it was like. We would go to the barber shows or showcases inside of shops, and I was like, wow, I'm in it again. I'm in it. Her passion for traditional barbering and barber history, I was like, dude, I feel that. And I never looked at it this way before. So it was super inspirational to meet her because she nerds out about her job, and she's an ambitious gal. I'm ambitious too. It was so cool to find a kindred spirit. And I think going to work at her shop really reignited my passion for this craft. And putting a new tool in my belt, I felt like I was new at something again, which I think throughout my career, I've always tried to pick up something new. Once I got comfortable getting familiar with shaving and shaved products, and barber culture was just like me being new in the field again. So thank goodness for that. The 2 years I spent in that shop with her was such a pivotal moment for me because I never before had a role model of somebody who became a small business owner. I was inspired by that. It gave me this feeling to create something too. I wanted to have that feeling where the ideas that I had could be formed into something tangible. I was getting really comfortable with shaving. We had taken a shave course overseas that was absolutely amazing. And I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm going all in on barbering. This is my identity now. I think that she could tell that I had these strong ideas, and she had a hunch that I would want to create something on my own. And she was super supportive of me coming here and pursuing the education dreams which I had. I knew that going out on my own, I would be able to form myself completely as a barber, as an educator, and now as a YouTuber. This is my platform for education. A lot of my free time, I've been researching all about YouTube strategies and all kinds of crap about this. So I'm trying it out. I wondered for a long time. I have information. I need to start applying it. That is why I'm here. I have caught you up on everything. The Dame Barber is a way that I promoted myself. A dame is the female version of a knight. And a knight is somebody who has done a lot for their community or has accomplished a lot in their field. While I still have more things I'd like to accomplish, becoming the Dame Barber is a promotion for me. And I'm not waiting till someone says, hey, we want you for the job. I am just promoting myself. And now, after 30 minutes, so sorry, I told you it was going to be a long story. You are all caught up on everything that I've experienced. If you want to know more about some stuff, definitely ask me about it. If you're curious about the different work environments I've been in, ask me. If you want to learn more about leadership, ask me. If you want to learn more about small business, ask me. I am here to share. I am here now for barbers, for cosmetologists, hair professionals. I'm here to share everything I learned and guide you on your own professional journey. Whether you're just starting out, maybe you've been cutting hair already for years and you just need to be reignited and get that fire going again, I will fan your flame for you. And look, I was going to leave this industry. I was out. I had given up. And now I find myself right back in it and more engaged than ever. So very happy to be here for you in the coming months. I hope to share a lot more with you 1 week at a time. This is a fun creative project for me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, for listening, and hope you have some takeaways from this. This is the Dame Barber signing off.